In a land ruled by Arabs, one nation tells them otherwise.
Israel lies at the eastern end of the Mediterranean Sea. Egypt borders on the west, Syria and Jordan on the east, and Lebanon on the north. How did Israel come to be? Suddenly, the dream of a homeland for the Jews became an actual possibility instead of just a hope. From 1917 until 1948, thousands of Jews moved to Palestine because they heard of the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people. This was called the British Mandate, established on November 2, 1917. On July 22, 1922, the British divided Palestine into two districts. Jews were only allowed on the west side. In 1946, the British created an independent Palestine Arab nation. On November 29, 1947, when the United Nations Assembly voted to divide Western Palestine into one Jewish and Arab state, the war for independence began. May 14, 1948, Israel declared their independence and immediately were invaded by neighboring Arab nations. Thousands of Jews from other Arab countries started fleeing to Israel hoping to find refuge, and thousands of Arabs fled from Israel thinking they would allow the Jews to be exterminated and then go back to their homes. But the Arabs guessed wrong, because Israel won the war, and 19 years later they faced another one. The Six-Day War involved 3 battle fronts, tied together by a goal: to eliminate Israel and erase the shame of their defeat 19 years earlier.
Even with all the odds stacked against them, Israel still had multiple victories, which may have strengthened their belief that God really did give them this land. Since the war, the West Bank and Gaza Strip have been considered disputed areas, and everyone wants control. The U.S., Israel, and the Arab countries have been discussing a possible solution to this conflict. A two-state plan has been proposed, which would give the Palestinians their own independent state. The Palestinians would agree to renounce violence. Israel would recognize the Palestinian government and halt construction on the West Bank and Gaza Strip. Many people may question why we support Israel. Some may argue that they don't like their tax money going to another country to kill other people. But like us, Israel is trying to maintain order and stability. We support them because we can learn much from them. They always seek peace. They are democratic. Many wealthy people in the U.S. are Jewish. We need allies in the Middle East. Truthfully, we need each other. Though we look different, we're all basically the same.
Hi, my name is Najmuddin Touma. I'm 20 years old and I'm from Aleppo, Syria. And I'm here to answer a few questions. First of all, you asked about our traits, specifically our hair color. Me and all my brothers have the same hair color, which is brown.
Nijam and his siblings look alike because of heredity. Heredity is basically the passing of chromosomes from parents to offspring. When parents have children, they pass on chromosomes. We get half of our chromosomes from my mom and the other half from my dad. We get our chromosomes randomly, so each child has a unique combination of traits. Traits are features of a person's characteristic, like the color of our hair.
Although my mom is a blonde, my dad is a brunette, and his whole family is the same.
Brown is dominant, which means it's the strongest trait and most likely to be seen. If his father is homozygous dominant, he has the same alleles. His father could also be heterozygous, which means you get both alleles. But the dominant allele will overpower the recessive. His mom is homozygous recessive for blonde hair, so you don't see it as much, but when two recessive alleles are put together, you get blonde.
Since dominant brown is more probable to appear in the dynasty than recessive blonde, then all my parents' children have to have brown hair. Although if me or one of my brothers marry a blonde in the future, we might have a chance of getting blonde children. You asked about my religion. Well, we are Muslims, and in Islam, it's all about tolerance, equalness, love, forgiveness, and mercy. And Islam doesn't permit killing, nor revenge, like many believe it does. That it couldn't be farther from the truth. We could never do something like that. In conclusion, Islam is just like any other religion that believes in one God. And we're not terrorists. We don't ever do anything to terrorize people. There are only extremists that we have nothing to do with. And it's my wish that someday Americans and foreigners will change the belief that they have about us, which is Islamophobia or the fear of Islam. And maybe one day we will be one step closer to world peace. Thank you and goodbye.